How's it going, everybody?
Good. How you doing? How are you?
Sweet. Well, let's get it going.
We were asking Keenan about the double move Keenan had going into the end zone on the left side. You just overthrew him.
Yeah, carried a little bit too much momentum into the pocket movement, and tried to give him a little bit more touch than I did, and the ball just carried. With the momentum of moving up in the pocket, and I didn't want to drive it because of where the defender was. I thought he was going to try and undercut it, and so I tried to give him a little touch. The momentum. Forward, let the ball carry a little bit more than I wanted to.
We talked to you a couple weeks ago about accuracy, and you said, I'm really accurate my whole life.
Yep.
What has been kind of the hiccup this year? Have you identified? Is it just footwork-wise, fundamental, or?
Yeah, I think some of it comes to the fundamentals and footwork and stuff like that. I think some of it also comes from the amount of reps, a rookie player overall, just a rookie player, gets, and finding that feel in the throughout the games and throughout practices and stuff like that of the plays and things like that. And so when you get in live bullets, you're not thinking so much about those those small things. You're thinking about a lot bigger things, like pressures or coverages or the play, and the routes and stuff like that. So I think it just comes down to the reps, and then footwork and fundamentals and just being in rhythm.
Does it frustrate you?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I hate missing passes, especially ones that I've been pretty consistent on for I would say a good amount of time, but that's coming, and the progress has over the year or over this football season, it's been growing for myself and things like that of routes and combinations of routes put together, and seeing all these bunch of different defenses and throwing all of these footworks together. So the progress has I think it's been on a steady trend upwards. But I would say that it is pretty frustrating on missing some of these passes that I've missed.
You said an optimistic tone when you've been up here talking about your belief in this team in the future. Behind the scenes, you go through each week. How do you not let the losing affect you and try to keep your own development track with positive focus in mind?
Yeah, it does affect me. Losing is it's one of those things that actually really affects me. It's tough, but I do have the understanding of where I'm at in my career and where I'll be at. And so having that understanding is important for me, myself internally, because internally it's tough. Internally, when tough times happen, just human nature is to do the opposite of what you're doing or what you've been doing or all these different things. So it's the toughest part is fighting yourself, and especially when there's tough times, and so understanding that aspect of it, and also understanding the position that I'm in. There's a lot of growth. But there's also a lot of progress that throughout the season that has happened, throughout training camp and all of that, that has happened. And so having all of that in mind, there's a lot to be optimistic and positive about, because I'm not my best self yet, and that's soon to come. But I'm working towards that, every day, and going to keep working towards that. And so. In the grand scheme of it, losing is, I like to win in everything that I do, whether it's cards, whether it's, playing, video games with my friends, football games where, we're in battle and things like that, and just anywhere in life, I try to win. And when that's not happening, you got to find ways to keep going. Like I've always said, find ways to keep progressing, and so. I think that's been my mindset is finding those ways to keep progressing, and stay optimistic, because at the end of it, whether I'm feeling down, whether I'm feeling like I'm hurting or anything like that. Nobody really cares. And so, being able to, like I said, keep growing, keep progressing, be optimistic, about the good, even about the bad. Because even with the bad, like I said, there's a lot to grow from and keep growing. So.
Caleb, with that in mind, as much as like most players are probably wired, just go game to game, do you ever catch yourself thinking kind of big picture, like, I want to work on this in the offseason, this will work better next year, do you ever catch yourself thinking even for a moment, big picture?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, obviously, um, trying to stay in the moment, but there are things that at times I will, go to my notes and write things down that I know I want to work on or know I want to get better at. Know whether it's routes, whether it's defenses, whether it's fronts and protections, whether it's all of the above. And so there's moments or just things that I don't know that I want to research more and learn about more. And so taking small notes throughout the season and not trying to remember everything at the end of it, I think is something that I've done this year. I started kind of midway through the year, marking down some stuff that I want to get better at, stuff that I want to learn, and obviously, finding ways to still be in the moment, stay in the moment, but understand that, I got to grow and progress to be able to help, this team and Chicago Bears to, grow and, reach our goals and my goals that, which is, winning games, winning big games, being in those big games and, coming out victorious. So,
Is there one note that stands out that you've got in that book?
I probably have so far this season. I've probably written down 5 to 8 things, and so I would say all from pre-snap stuff to even post-snap, whether it's footwork, whether it's pre-snap and recognizing what they're in and if they rotate to here, where's my how fast can I get to this, how fast can I get to that route, or this alert, that alert. So I got a good amount of stuff that I'm planning on going over.
Like back to Chris's question, when you talk about having to fight off some of those feelings when things do look a little bleak, how do you do that?
Yeah, you talk. It's gonna sound crazy, but you talk to yourself. To be honest, like you motivate yourself. You encourage yourself. You encourage. You have positive affirmations is the word, I guess, that you say to yourself. And with that, it makes the days better. It makes when you're going through a tough patch, it makes those days a little bit easier rather than pulling yourself down, telling yourself you're this and that. So that's, like I said, it sounds kind of crazy, but I tell myself certain things. I am great. I will be great. All these different things, and so I think that's the one of the biggest things is not pulling yourself down and being gracious with yourself.
Back at the first half of the Detroit game, what stood out to you in terms of why you guys weren't ineffective and how will that change this week?
Detroit or Minnesota?
I'm talking about the first time you guys played Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah.
And so what was the last part that then?
Like what stood out that went wrong in the first half and that Thanksgiving Day game?
Yeah. I'd say execution. And I'd say that was one of the biggest things. And then just in the first Detroit game, they started manning us up a little bit and throwing accurate passes. Pass protecting, running the ball well, winning on man routes and things like that. So I think that's what started to click in that second half of the last Detroit game, and what wasn't in the first half.
What has been? Has it just been execution in the first half? What has led to these slow starts for you guys?
Yeah, I think execution. I think. Like I spoke about right after the game, is just respecting the game, understanding that each play needs all 11 players that are on the field, and the coaches before the play, and so just respecting the game, understanding that, and then going out there and being violent and executing the details that were given to us, and you know, I think that will create more positivity in the first half, meaning you know, more first downs, more explosives, you know, more touchdowns or you know, points on the board. So